Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are here, as you can tell by the title of the video, I was accepted into nursing school. So I'm super excited and I decided to share with you all how I got accepted, what I did on my application to make myself stand out and be more competitive, and all the steps I took to get to this point. So if you're interested, just keep on watching. If you see me looking down, it's because I wrote notes for this on my phone. So I just want to make sure that I get everything in the video. So I'm going to be sharing the most common courses required in most of the programs, so the classes that I took, any working/volunteer hours that I did, how to be more competitive, and why I decided to go for an accelerated nursing program as opposed to a regular traditional 4-year program or ADN programs. So each program is different on the requirements. Some require more classes than others, some require some standardized exams. Some require volunteer hours. Sometimes it can be related to healthcare. Some actually require you to have volunteer hours in something that has nothing to do with healthcare. They all have different requirements and it's your job to research each one to see what you need to do. But generally, most programs require these courses as a part of their prereqs. So I personally took Anatomy and Physiology 1 and 2 with labs. I took Microbiology with lab. I took Chemistry 1 and 2 with labs. Nutrition, General Psychology, or Lifespan Psychology. Sometimes they also require Abnormal Psychology. Sometimes they don't require it, and they may or may not accept that as a way to take place of the psychology course that they require. So just check in on each program to see what their requirements are. Statistics and English composition. So another thing to keep in mind about these prerequisites is that some programs require you to have these prereqs done within the last 5 years of you applying to the program. So in my case, because I decided to go for an accelerated nursing program, I already have a bachelor's degree under my belt. So for people in my position, if you want to go for an accelerated nursing program, you have to make sure that all of the prereqs are within 5 years, because even if one prereq falls past that time frame, you're going to have to retake them. And it sucks because I've seen people on forums and in different videos talking about how they have all these prerequisites completed, but because they were all taken like 6, 7, 8 years ago, they had to basically retake all of them again. If possible, try to apply to programs where the time frame is within 10 years. If you feel that the 5-year time frame is too short, I believe the longest I saw was 10 years. Majority want the prereqs within 5 years. Some I saw like 7 or 8 years. Yeah, just make sure that you get that all done beforehand. Some programs actually require you to take a standardized exam. Usually it's either the ATITs exam or the HESI A2 exam. So I took the ATITs exam in September of 2020. That was right when things were starting to open up again because of the pandemic, but exams were being held online. So I actually had to take mine at home, and they had me download this software called Proctorio, which is basically a program that records and monitors you while you're taking the exam. So I took 2 weeks to study for the exam. 2 weeks before my exam, I decided to take time off from work and really study. Especially that week before the exam, I was studying from like 10 in the morning till like 10 in the morning all the way till 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, it was insane. I was studying so much, but it was worth it in the end because I ended up getting great scores. I got advanced standing and it qualified me for all of the programs that required it. I actually ended up making some review guides for the science portion of the TEAS exam, and it's completely free to download on my website. So if you guys are interested, I'll link it in the description down below. All right, next is the hours. So I did hours in both inpatient and outpatient. So one of the things that was suggested to me by a colleague who was a nurse herself that actually went through an accelerated program as well was to try and get as much hours in different settings, because programs like to see that you're familiar with different environments within the nursing field. So one of the things that I think helped me a lot in my application was the fact that I am a licensed physical therapist assistant, and that's what helps me get the job in the hospital. Even though we work a lot with orthopedic patients, I still had to treat patients in the labor and delivery unit. You know, sometimes there's mothers who have complications after delivery and they need to strengthen again, so I have to go and treat them. I also had to treat patients who were in the oncology unit, respiratory unit, ICU, like all different kinds of settings. I was exposed to all these different settings, and not only that, but I also worked in an outpatient clinic, so I was able to see the patients who got better in the hospital that were referred to the outpatient clinic. I was able to see that side of the process as well. I also worked as a medical assistant at a dermatology clinic. So it was like a dermatology and cosmetic clinic in one, and I got to see both sides of things, both the healthcare aspects of things where they were checking for any malignancies or like skin cancer and things like that, or people who were just coming in to like for cosmetic reasons. So if they had some kind of dark spot on their face, like melasma, things like that, then we would treat with lasers. We would do Botox and fillers for people who are interested in, you know, getting rid of wrinkles or softening fine lines, or, you know, things like that. All of the programs that I applied to required hours in a healthcare setting, but I did see a few programs where they required you to have hours from something completely irrelevant to healthcare. Our next topic is how to be more competitive. So definitely grades. Grades. I know some programs say that they're very holistic, that they look at your entire application and it's not all about grades. But yes, they may look at your entire application, but grades are still important. The reason being is that they want to make sure that they accept students who can handle the rigor of the program, and also someone who can pass the NCLEX exam, because this is going to affect their passing rates, which they have to show for the public to see. Programs try to make sure that every single student passes the NCLEX exam, because obviously the higher passing rates that they have, the more competitive the program is, because it means that they are preparing their students well enough to pass the state exam. So definitely make sure that you get high grades. I studied my butt off and I got straight A's in my physical therapist assistant program. I graduated with summa cum laude. I got a lot of scholarships and it was super stressful. I'm pretty sure I gave myself a stomach ulcer in the process from how stressed out I was from all the studying, but it was worth it, and my good grades definitely helped me out in the end. The second thing I think would help you be more competitive in an application would be to get some kind of license, whether it be a physical therapist assistant license like what I did, or I know a lot of people who end up getting a certified nursing assistant certification, so it helps them work in the hospital alongside nurses, which is a great experience. Some people also get their license as a LPN, so licensed practical nursing, which gives them a little bit more responsibilities than a CNA, and they also work alongside nurses, so that's a great experience and a great way to demonstrate that you can handle a rigorous program and that you are licensed in the state. That looks very good in an application. Another example would be respiratory therapists. I've seen a lot of RTs become nurses. What else? Oh, obviously a medical assistant like myself. I actually did not get licensed as a medical assistant. I was fortunate enough to get training from my boss at the place that I worked at. So as a medical assistant, you don't have to become licensed. It's up to the employer. Some are willing to train you on the job like myself, but if you decide to get the license, then that's just gonna help your application, and it's also gonna show that you're serious about nursing because you were willing to go the extra mile and get that extra education as a medical assistant and get licensed, and it's just gonna look so much better on your application. It'll definitely make you more competitive. Another way also is to do continuing education. Sometimes certain courses give you certifications, so if you get some kind of certification from a continuing ed class in your specialty, then that's something that you can add to your resume, and it also shows to programs that you're not just sitting around doing nothing, like you are continuously educating yourself and learning about the specialty. So that's something that you should definitely consider. And finally, I think this is something that would definitely make you more competitive. It's a little bit harder to do, but if you have the opportunity to do so, I highly suggest it. And that is to do some kind of research. During my undergraduate program, I was fortunate enough to be selected as one of the students in the healthcare department to work with the chair of the healthcare department, and I was selected to do some research on different topics surrounding healthcare, and I was able to work alongside some top researchers in my university. I ended up getting some research papers published, and my name was listed on there. On one of the research papers that I worked in, I was actually listed as first author, so that was amazing, and it's nice to put that in my resume that I worked hard on this and I helped contribute to the scientific community in these research papers. So if you have the opportunity, definitely try and do it. It definitely helps you stand out amongst other applicants when you're applying to these to the nursing programs. It also shows that you are dedicated and that you manage your time wisely, because not only are you going to be interacting with participants in these research studies, but you're also going to be doing a lot of like data entry. You're going to be comparing like the different results from the experiments and things like that. So it just shows that you are dedicated and organized and that you are willing to go the extra mile. So definitely consider it. And finally, I'm going to discuss why I decided to go for the accelerated nursing programs as opposed to the traditional 4-year and ADN programs. In my case, I already had my bachelor's degree in healthcare, and I decided that because of that, it would be so much easier for me to go the accelerated route as opposed to the 4-year traditional program, because of course it's a shorter duration of time for the same degree. And also a lot of the universities that were offering these programs are very well-known universities. I did consider the ADN programs. I actually did apply to one and I got accepted into it, but I ended up declining because I decided to go with the accelerated nursing program. But the thing with the ADN programs is that in my state, a lot of the hospitals, because of magnet status, they are having this transition of only hiring BSN nurses. It's basically based on this research where it showed that there was a lower risk of patient mortality when there's more BSN nurses working as opposed to ADN, something like that. It's something about like some research that they found. However, that's not to say that hospitals will not hire ADN nurses at all. Some will, with the condition that you get your BSN within a certain time frame. And sometimes hospitals will actually pay for your education to get your BSN. So that is the advantage of an ADN program. Like it's a 2-year program. You get your associates instead of your bachelor's. However, because of the way things are changing nowadays with hospital settings and magnet status, a lot of students are going back to, a lot of ADN students are going, a lot of registered nurses who have their ADN degree are going back to school to get their BSN so that they can continue working at their hospitals, or so that they can get hired at a hospital. Or for example, if there's nurses who want to do research or administrative work, then a BSN program would be best for that. So in the end, if I had gone the ADN route, then it would have been the 2-year ADN program, and then an additional 1 to 2 years for the BSN program. So it still would have ended up being like 3 to 4 years in total for me to get my BSN that way. It would have been very similar to the traditional 4-year program, where it would have been almost 4 years as well. So that's why in my case I felt that the accelerated program was the best option for me, just because it was a lot faster and I would be getting my BSN degree right off the bat. Now, something to also consider is cost. Of course, the ADN program are a lot more affordable. However, that's not to say that there aren't accelerated nursing programs that are also affordable. Like the program that I got accepted to is a very well-known university. Because of the fact that it's very well-known and a prestigious school, they get a lot of revenue and a lot of donations and scholarships and like funding for all these things. So because of that, the costs of these programs go down. Because of the fact that this program is very well known and gets a lot of funding and has a lower tuition compared to other schools in the area, it's also that much more competitive. So something you're gonna see as well, that all these accelerated nursing programs that are affordable, they tend to be extremely competitive to get into. So this is why having your grades high and having all those things on your application are important, so that you can qualify for these programs and you can get accepted. So I was very fortunate to get into this program that not only is it an accelerated nursing program, so I get to finish quick with my BSN, but it's also very affordable, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm very grateful that they gave me this opportunity, and I start in like a week, so that's super exciting. I'm a little nervous, but I can't wait to start this journey. Alright, and that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys found it helpful. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.